Fitting in is acceptance, being by self-abandonment. Belonging is ownership. When you are truly embodied with your belonging, with your becoming, with who you are, no one can shame you. No one can guilt you. No one can have such an influence that you need to change your whole identity to, shift to someone else's narrative. Hello, and welcome back to a Transformed Life podcast. I am so excited that you are here with me today, wherever you might be listening from, whether you are on YouTube or Spotify or Apple Podcast. Welcome. And before we dive into today's topic, I want to invite you to support me in one of the following ways. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit subscribe. That is a great opportunity to support my work and move my vision and mission forward. And if you're listening on the other podcast, be sure to leave me a 5-star rating. And if you want to send me an email and let me know where you are joining from, that would be welcome as well. So today I want to talk about, where are you editing your life? And editing your life can look a bunch of different ways. So whether you are a single mom, such as myself, whether you are a CEO, a business owner, a founder, a working parent in general, single, no matter what you identify as, there is probably patterns in your life and belief systems that you have adapted to that you may not even be aware of. And as we move into personal growth, personal development, transformation, one of these patterns is shifting our life to fit other people's expectations, situations. People pleasing is another really popular term in the personal growth space. Shrinking ourselves, staying small. And so where are you editing your life is another term for all of those sentences. And I invite you to consider where you are editing your life to fit in, because you are afraid that you won't be accepted. And even into today's society, so many people are following an agenda that is filtered down through generations and even through the system itself. They are following an outdated script. And this could look like going to college for 4 years, working at a desk job, even everything from even as I'm speaking right now, I notice that where I'm editing myself to fit in, to be palatable to whoever is listening to this. And so I guess I'm just going to speak my truth. Even fitting into a society where they need to change their gender to fit in. And these are examples, like Source, God, made us uniquely and divinely our individual selves. And so many are living their life running a script that someone has infiltrated into their mind. And it's not even what they want. I've seen so many stories recently of even people transitioning back to their original gender. And their stories are being shared that they were influenced by outside words and people that they knew wasn't correct. And yet there was a part of them that wanted to fit into society, to be accepted, instead of really owning of who they are. And I know this, I'm not going to talk about this the entire podcast, so please don't worry about that, rather than their divine, unique self. And so this whole editing, and the other thing I also want to talk about is filtering ourselves to fit in. Same kind of principle. And so part of my brand, part of my offering in my work is to be unfiltered and unedited. So my podcasts are not edited other than the minor automatic edits that come in of, taking out too many ums or too many words. Other than that, it is a raw podcast. And this year, I also was thinking a lot about authenticity. So many people are saying, oh, we want authentic people. And do you know what is showing up on Instagram? Very filtered photos. And I get it. Some of the filters are fun and they can be played around with. And when your whole identity starts shaping? See, I need an editor for this. No, just kidding. Shaping to be palatable for what you think is palatable to other people. And that is a subtle energetic of like, I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough in my own skin, in my own appearance to post something on social media. I need a filter. And that filter is subtly changing, especially over decades of time. When you use those filters habitually, those filters become part of your identity because now you can no longer post your real, raw face on social media. You must use a filter at every moment. And if you are a woman listening to this podcast, I believe filters are used primarily by women, and it really is an insidious trick by the system to get you to think that you aren't good enough as who you are. And I want to tell you, you're more than enough. You always were. And you don't need a filter to validate your worth, your likability, your personality, your looks. You can be accepted for exactly who you are. And so in my personal work on the brand the last couple of months, I felt called to not use photo filters on any of my Instagram posts. And has it been challenging sometimes seeing almost everyone else use a photo filter? Absolutely. And I know that I am on this planet to have high standards, and I am holding myself to a high standard first and inviting you to join with me. And we, as a society, especially females, when we join together and say, you know what? I'm not going to edit myself. I'm not going to filter myself to fit in to society, to fit into social media, to fit into scripts that are not aligned for what my soul came here to fulfill. I am not going to water myself down. I am not going to use filters that buy into this narrative that I only have to use, I'm only beautiful when I use a filter. That is a lie the system has given you. And we can work to transition and transform out of that into a filter-free, edit-free society, culture. And that is where the transformation is. And yet so many are still living by this script that they need fillers, they need Botox, wrinkles is bad. I have to have perfect tight skin to be accepted by my partner, by my friends, by society, by who I speak to, my social media following, my brand. And the more we go down that road, the less authentic society is. The less we trust people, the less we trust ourselves, because we're not, there's a filter, so one of the reasons when you think of a filter, it is a very thin barrier between myself or the person and the other side of how they're looking. And so they are not seeing the full soul. And so we live in this very interesting paradox. We hear all these messages, be authentic. We want authenticity. Be yourself. Just post whatever. And yet those very same people are still using filters. They're using injectables and fillers and scalping their body to fit in to society. And that is not what Source created us to be. And so I want to invite you to, if you are sitting and listening to this, if you're driving, please opt out of this. You can do it later. If you are driving, keep your hands on the wheel and just do a internal scan. Where are you? Not your location, your life. Are you in here present with yourself? What is wanting to be expressed, explored, elevated? Are you here in your body, in your truth? Do you even know what your truth is? The truth, not my truth, but like the source core truth? Or are you quietly dimming your light, editing yourself to fit in to a society that is built on sand? And these edits and these filters, whether it's a literal Instagram filter or a filter on your life where you are shrinking, where you are not standing up and speaking for the truth, speaking your boundaries, speaking your standards, embodying them as well, just not speaking them, but really living them internally. And then naturally, they just externally are a part of your life, just like clothes are a part of your life. You are so embodied with your standards and your boundaries. They are just non-negotiables in your life. So I invite you to take a conscious breath into your belly first and breathe in and breathe out. We don't have to count right now, but really just take a minute to like pause into your body of like, I am taking a deep conscious breath into my belly first. And notice if your chest rises, we want our belly to rise first to repattern our nervous system. If you have missed the previous episodes I have recorded on repatterning our nervous system through breath, please go back and watch them. I give you a whole exercise, a 5-minute practice on YouTube so you can see exactly how the movements are done. And then say this subconscious statement internally, externally, if you would like to as well. Truth is safe in my body. Let's begin. Truth is safe in my body. Let's begin. Fitting in is acceptance being rented by self-abandonment. Belonging is ownership. When you are truly embodied with your belonging, with your becoming, with who you are, no one can shame you. No one can guilt you. No one can have such an influence that you need to change your whole identity to, shift to someone else's narrative when it's your world, your autonomy, your body. And you are not filtering your life to appease other people, other situations. And when you're in that truth, that authentic, real truth of, I don't need a filter to make myself feel better. I don't need to use a filter to make me feel beautiful. I am beautiful exactly as I am, with or without makeup on. And the more of us that practice this together, and it's a daily practice, and I invite you to join with me. We need to maybe start a hashtag revolution of no more filters. Filters are ruining the intimacy between individuals. Intimacy, not necessarily in romantic partnership, but having intimate conversations with another human where we get to see each other's soul in a deep, meaningful way, not a make-believe or a made-up version of who we aren't. And so it is so important to tap into your nervous system of what does that feel like? If you posted on social media without filters, what comes up for you? Fear, judgment. I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. I don't want them to see my flaws. I want perfect skin. I have wrinkles. I'm not confident in who I am. Confidence comes by being through doing. We can't buy confidence. Confidence is a byproduct of standing in our embodiment of, yes, this is who I am, and I'm showing up exactly that. It's power, it's strength, and it's also presence. When you are so firmly rooted in your confidence, you naturally exude that. And if your nervous system is feeling really scared and afraid of what people would think of you, to post your real, raw self on social media without a filter on it, let that part know. You can speak to them internally right now. I see you. I got you. I love you. What do you need from me? Parts work is really into integration of bringing those aspects of us, growing them up, letting them know that they are safe and they are cared for. They are valuable and worthy exactly as they are. And notice how you seek notice how you seek other people's approval for how you look, their validation, that external validation of your worth. And your worth is intrinsic. You don't have to do anything to earn your worth or earn your value. You are beautiful and divine exactly as you are. And the more you can practice not using a filter in real time, in using your authentic self on social, you will begin to attract authenticity and authentic people into your life. Authenticity, realness, people are longing for that. And yet we're not seeing much of it. A lot of social media is a very high dopamine driven platforms, I should say. And I invite you to kind of step out of the matrix and join me in unediting your life. How edited are your photos, your work, your offerings? And if it's people pleasing or perfectionists, worried that somebody might call you out for a spelling error, who knows what the actual fear is? I'm sure you know right now what kind of lands and hits for your system. And I can kind of intuitively tap into the collective and feel what you are feeling listening to this or watching this, a fear of being seen for exactly who you are without a filter. And when we practice being our real, raw, authentic selves, that leads to more internal freedom, internal peace, which leads to external freedom and peace. And, external validation has been something that I have worked through in my personal life. And it is a very transformative process, knowing that I am a worthy individual, regardless if my big dreams and big visions ever come to fruition or not. Regardless if there's justice for me and my sweet boy, regardless if I have 2 million followers or 2,000. My worth and my value is based on me and my internal worth. It is not based on how many comments, how many likes, how many people say you're so beautiful, whatever the external words could be. And it takes practice to get to that point, and I'm still working on it. I have not arrived. It's a daily practice for me. And so you can join this daily practice with me by really focusing on, okay, maybe I start 3 days a week where I don't use filters on my social media post. Maybe you start with 1. Every Monday, I don't use a filter. And then you work up to Monday and Wednesday. Those are some practical ways you can begin to bring in authenticity into your nervous system and ultimately into the global collective. So I want to give you some examples of how people stay small, where they shrink themselves, where they're editing their life to fit in, editing or filtering their life to fit in. One is so in the body, somatic. If you know you need to speak something, this could be, I'm going to use a workplace example first. If you know you need to speak, you might, and you're afraid to do so, you might notice it you have a tight throat, you got heat in your cheeks, or you could become cold too. Your idea somebody else used and you didn't get the credit for it. Where does that show up in your body? And you have resentment building up in your body. And then your body can pay for it through headaches, migraines, shallow breath, digestive issues, disrupted sleep, and all because you did not use your power in words of what you wanted to say. You let someone else speak over you. You perhaps shrugged your shoulders when they laughed at your rates, when they laughed at your idea. You may have said, I'm easy. That doesn't matter. And you shrunk yourself to stay small, to appease someone else, what someone else was going to think of you. Here's another scenario. The family dinner table. If the holidays are coming up, this is bound to probably be something. Someone could make a belittling comment about your appearance, about your parenting, about a situation you're going through, about your financial situation. Gosh, I mean, family, there's so much that could come up. And instead of speaking up and saying, I no longer allow those words into my field, do you have something kinder to say? Instead, you kept quiet and you allowed the other person to continue to verbally abuse or bully you. And the cost is that self-trust is a micro fracture. And over time, that fracture begins to grow until it's an earthquake in your life, until you possibly hit rock bottom. So when we have all these micro fractures in our life, they're eventually going to add up and catch up. Like, we can't bypass them. And that is why I'm inviting you into this transformative work today. If you are tired of being sick, stuck, and sad, let's get to work. Because your life is valuable, your life is precious, your life means something, and life really is too short to live in a script, in a system, in a story that doesn't belong to you. And if your story is, I'm not good enough, I'm too broken, I'm not worthy, something's wrong with me, shame, I'm not good enough, we can rewire that story starting immediately. And you can begin to live a life where you sleep again, where you can wake up in the morning full of wonder, peace, and you aren't editing your life to fit someone else. This is your story. You are the author of it. And that is the whole principle, the whole theory, philosophy behind the self-caretaker experiment. I invite you to go back to that episode and watch it. It's just a few episodes ago. When you tap into how you are currently treating yourself internally, how you would explain to someone else to take care of you, when you realize that is not in current alignment with where you are, and you desire to write a new script to become the author of your life, that is when the miracles show up. So there's 4 kind of signs where you are editing, filtering your life. First is language. It's fine. I'm easy. Nervous laugh. Hedging, maybe. Just a thought. Okay. Not saying anything at all. Maybe just nodding your head, shrugging your shoulders. And here's a little swap script for you. Here's what's true for me. And the second one is, that doesn't align for me. The second signal that you are editing your life to fit into a script and a system that you were never meant to is your body. Your throat, solar plexus can feel really tight, shallow breath. That's why we do the breath test of like, put a hand on your chest, hand on your belly, which rises first. If your hand on your chest rises first, you're in the sympathetic state, fight, flight, freeze, fawn response. We want to be in the parasympathetic state where we are living in gratitude and abundance. Your jaw can clench. Perhaps you have teeth grinding at night. Your shoulders are up. They're not back and relaxed. And you just feel generally tight. You can't really get a full breath. It will also show up in the body, disrupted sleep, digestive issues, gut issues, immune system is weakened. And here's how you can reset. Simply put your hand on your chest, hand on your lower belly, and take 3 slow inhales. Have your belly hand rise first, and then up. If you're watching this on YouTube, you get it. And then just say, truth is safe in my body. And do this for 3 rounds. So a slow inhale, you can count for 3 up. And then on the exhale, try 5 or 6 count on the exhale. Number 3, the third sign that you're editing your life is time. You are attempting to be perfect. You're either over prepared, and you can also be under asking for what you really want. So let's say you want the Ferrari and you're like, oh, the Honda's okay. Well, if you want the Ferrari, speak up and say you want the Ferrari. The universe will only give you what you say you want. So if you are saying you want the Honda, you're probably going to get the Honda and not the Ferrari. And so you're editing yourself to appease someone else, to people please. It's kind of a fawn response. Again, a sympathetic response that we want to bring the body out of into abundance and gratitude, and really speaking from the heart of like, this is really what I genuinely want. And you say it with confidence, power, strength, and there's so much wisdom in that. And so make a very clear ask. Instead of polishing and perfecting every product pitch, every email, once and done. Like money loves speed, success loves speed, decisions love speed. I wouldn't recommend this for romantic relationships. That is kind of a different category. But really know of like, you know what? This post is good. I don't have to spend hours deliberating with myself. Are people going to like this? I need to change this color. I need to change this font. Don't shipshape yourself to fit into a society where you're never meant to fit into. You're meant to stand out and speak with sovereignty. And the fourth one to editing yourself is boundaries. A lot of people say yes while resenting. They really want to say no. They just go along with the flow, and boundaries are so important. Are you always available? Do you have an abusive ex? Set a boundary with, I will only internally for you to say this, I only respond on these days. One thing that I have done years ago is I set up a dedicated email just for court stuff. And I don't have that email on my phone. It is only on my laptop. Another boundary. I will not allow that to disrupt my day. And so there's so many boundaries you can put into place. If you need help establishing boundaries, please reach out to me. I would love to guide you in creating boundaries for your life. So you could, if you're having a lot of boundary violations, you could simply say, I'll get back to you tomorrow. And the more you have boundaries internally, those boundaries, again, will become embodied, and they are just a natural extension of your being, of your soul. And I really want you to live your life full of peace, not always having to have a filter on what you speak, what you share with the world. We want to see the real you. And the more as a collective that we can do this, the healthier and healed we become. Here are 3 other ideas I want to give you. I need to do a whole podcast on this. This particular word is really prevalent with women, but it's saying sorry. They use the word sorry. I use the word sorry. I hardly ever use it unless if it's a true situation where I need to say, I am sorry. This is where I went wrong. Please accept my apologies. So many women, females, fall into using the word sorry without a situation that warrants it. And so that is a subtle, energetic pattern of apologizing for your existence, editing your life. Again, I'm sorry. There's nothing to really be sorry about in that moment. Like you can stub your toe and all of a sudden you're like, I'm sorry. Well, nobody did anything to you. You just stub your toe. Instead of apologizing for your existence, you can say, thank you for your patience. Thank you for waiting. My apologies. But really see how often you are using the word sorry in your vocabulary. Speech is so important. That's one of the things I really work on with clients and people I interact with is your speech. What are you saying? What words are you putting out into the universe? Because energetically, everything has this, energetic frequency, this match, this vibration. If you are tending to just say yes by default automatically, notice. So the first step is awareness. So notice the awareness to say that and have a little script of, I'll get back to you tomorrow. Thank you for letting me know. I will confirm by 3 p.m. tomorrow. And that way you start really being the author of your story, the author of your life. It's very powerful work. And then keep layering into your body somatically. Truth is safe in my body. And then I invite you to journal on this question at the end of a day. I really think an evening journal practice before bed is so helpful. So many have a morning journal practice. I have morning and evening, and really writing out your day, what happened. And this is a question you could journal on. Where did I edit myself in the last 12 hours? What was I protecting? What was trying to protect me? Because that's all the body wants. The body and the mind, really the mind. The mind just wants safety. Safety from what? And so if there is propensity to shrink and not ask for what you really want, reach out to a safe friend and say, hey, this is really something I want. I want to go out here to eat versus this place. I would like to take a hike at this trail, and start speaking what you really want and not shrinking for what someone else wants, fitting their expectations. And I think with that, I am going to close this podcast for today. There are a lot of things happening in my life. I will close on a personal note. This week has been very triggering with the experience I continue to go through with court. I have now been in custody court going on 7 years at this point, and the CPTSD from that is quite massive. And I am so grateful for all of my healthy systems that I have in place, that even on the really hard, difficult days, I had a migraine 24 hours that was induced by court nonsense, court ridiculousness. And I can rest, I can repair, I can restore, and still show up for you today, because God, Source, has given me such a large vision and mission that I intend to fulfill to the best of my ability. And I want to let you know, whether you're a business owner, whether you're a mom, whatever your title is, I am right here with you. I have been through the absolute fire, and everything was ashes. And that's the whole metaphor over Hope Rose, rising from the ashes. Because what rises from the ashes is your story, is your beauty, your brilliance, and a masterpiece that only you can paint with your life, with your words, with your creativity, with your inspiration, with your gifts, that the world is living to experience. And if you notice, I'm very intentional about that word. Most people say, oh, I'm dying to live that. No, I'm living to birth that into the world. And you're the only one that can paint that masterpiece. You are our original work of art. And so if you are going through a really challenging time, or a minor challenging time, or an extreme challenging time, I want to let you know that you're not alone. I'm walking here with you, because there have been very many challenging things in my life that I continue to navigate. Healing becomes kind of this navigation journey of, how can I navigate through these landmines? Yes, I have to continue to show up to court. It's being asked to show up to a battle, to war every day, where bullets are being, proverbial bullets being thrown at me. How can I navigate them? How can I have the armor of Source around me to continue to protect me and my little boy, so that I can fulfill the mission and the vision that God has brought me here on life to fulfill. So thank you so much for joining me for another podcast. I will see you next Friday for another episode of A Transformed Life. Please make sure that you rate, this show 5 stars. I really appreciate that. If you want to work with me, please send me a message. I have a few offerings that I would love to plug you in and really see you transform your life, business, goals, parenting, wherever it is that you desire to go and you need some guidance to arrive there. It'd be my honor and privilege to assist you in that. Thank you so very much, and I will see you next week. Have a beautiful day.